Hello, my name is Evelyn Carter, and I am 32 years old. I work as a financial analyst in New York City, a career I've poured my heart and soul into over the years. My life was once a perfect balance of ambition and independence until I met Alex, the man who changed everything. Alex had a magnetic charm that drew me in from the start. At 30, he seemed supportive, loving, and deeply interested in helping me navigate my demanding career. He often said, "Evelyn, with me by your side, you can conquer the world." His words felt like a promise, one I believed wholeheartedly. After a whirlwind romance of just 1 year, we decided to get married. Our wedding was a beautiful affair, simple yet elegant. Surrounded by family and friends, I felt like I was stepping into a dream. Alex's family was warm and welcoming, especially his mother, Diane. She embraced me as her daughter, promising that we would become one big, happy family. I felt grateful to have married into a family that seemed so kind and loving. But as time passed, cracks began to appear in that picture-perfect facade. Diane, though polite and sweet on the surface, had an air of control about her. She insisted on being involved in everything, from our finances to our personal decisions. At first, I thought she was just trying to help, but her involvement soon became suffocating. It wasn't long before Diane's true colors began to show. She often reminded Alex of how much she had sacrificed for him and used her words to manipulate him. "You owe it to this family to keep us together," she would say. Her words subtly, yet effectively, painted me as an outsider. I didn't realize just how far Diane would go to get what she wanted, but the day was fast approaching when her greed would turn my life upside down. As the months went by, Diane's behavior became more intrusive. She frequently made comments about Alex and me combining our finances with hers, despite the fact that we were both financially independent. At first, I brushed it off, assuming she simply wanted to feel involved. However, her intentions soon became clear. One evening, as we sat in the living room, Diane brought up the topic of my family's property, a beautiful estate I had inherited from my late father. "Evelyn," she said sweetly, though her tone had a sharp edge, "you're fortunate to have such a valuable property. It's only fair that it becomes part of the family, don't you think? After all, Alex is your husband, and we share everything in this family." I froze, my mind racing. That estate was not just a piece of land to me. It was a legacy, a connection to my father, and something I had vowed to preserve. "Diane," I replied as calmly as I could, "the property was my father's dream. It's something I'd like to keep in my name." Her expression darkened for just a moment before she masked it with a forced smile. "Of course, dear. I understand," she said, but her tone was laced with disapproval. I could feel the tension building, though Alex remained silent, staring at his phone. Days later, I found Diane snooping through my documents. "Oh, I was just tidying up," she said when I caught her red-handed. Alarm bells rang in my head, but I didn't say anything to avoid conflict. I should have trusted my instincts. Soon, Diane began pressuring Alex to convince me to transfer the property. "It's just a formality," she would say to him. "You're married now. Everything should be shared equally." Alex, instead of defending me, started echoing her words. "Evelyn, maybe it's not such a big deal. We're a family. Why are you being so stubborn?" I couldn't believe what I was hearing. "Alex, this isn't about being stubborn," I said firmly. "This property means everything to me, and I won't give it up." The tension between us grew. Diane's manipulation deepened, and Alex became increasingly cold toward me. Then, one fateful evening, the conflict came to a head. It was a stormy evening, and the air inside the house was just as heavy as the weather outside. Diane had called for a family meeting, insisting it was time to resolve the property issue. I knew what was coming, but I wasn't prepared for how far things would go. As I walked into the living room, Diane was sitting on the couch with Alex by her side. Her expression was icy, and Alex looked uncomfortably at the floor, avoiding my gaze. "Evelyn," Diane began, her voice dripping with faux sweetness, "we've discussed this enough. It's time for you to do the right thing and transfer the property deed to Alex. After all, it's for the good of the family." I took a deep breath, summoning every ounce of composure I had left. Diane, I've made myself clear. That property belongs to me, and it will stay that way. I'm not transferring anything. Diane's smile vanished in an instant, replaced by an expression of cold fury. You ungrateful woman, she spat. You've enjoyed the comforts of this family, and now you want to keep everything to yourself? That's not how this works. Before I could respond, Alex finally spoke, his voice shaky but firm. Evelyn, maybe you're being unreasonable. Mom's right. This property should belong to the family. Why can't you just see that? I stared at him, my heart breaking with every word. Alex, this is my inheritance, my father's legacy. How can you, of all people, expect me to give it up? My voice trembled, but I refused to back down. Diane stood up, her face red with anger. If you won't do what's right, then you have no place in this house, she declared. Before I could process her words, Alex grabbed my arm. She's right, Evelyn. Maybe you should leave until you're ready to be a team player. My world shattered. I couldn't believe the man I had trusted with my heart was siding with his manipulative mother. You're throwing me out? I whispered, my voice barely audible. Yes, Alex said coldly. If you can't support this family, then you don't belong here. With tears streaming down my face, I packed my belongings as the storm raged outside. Diane smirked from the doorway, watching my every move. Alex didn't even look at me as I walked out into the rain. I was drenched, broken, and betrayed, but as I drove away, I vowed that this was not the end. I would fight back. I would not let them take what was mine. Driving through the rain, I felt a mix of devastation and fury. How could Alex, the man I thought I could trust, throw me out of my own home? How could he and Diane feel so entitled to something they had no right to claim? As I reached my parents' house, their warm embrace was the solace I needed, but it didn't dull the fire burning inside me. I knew I couldn't let this betrayal go unanswered. The next morning, after gathering my thoughts, I sat down with my parents to explain everything. My father, a retired lawyer, listened intently, his expression darkening with every detail I shared. Evelyn, he said firmly, this is a clear case of manipulation and fraud. You need to act fast to protect your property. I'm ready, I said with conviction. I want to take legal action and ensure they never get their hands on what's mine. My father recommended a trusted lawyer, Claire Peterson, known for her expertise in property disputes. Within days, I was sitting in Claire's office, recounting every detail of what had happened. She listened carefully, taking meticulous notes, and then leaned back in her chair. They've tried to manipulate you into giving up your inheritance, and by the sound of it, they might already be planning to forge or misuse documents to claim ownership, she said. The good news is, since the deed is in your name, you have the upper hand. We'll file an injunction to block any transfer attempts and prepare to contest any fraudulent claims. Hearing her confidence bolstered my resolve. Claire's plan was simple but effective. Secure the property legally, gather evidence of their manipulation, and file for divorce. It was time to sever all ties with Alex and his toxic family. Over the next few weeks, I worked tirelessly with Claire to build my case. I combed through old text messages, financial records, and emails to document Diane's repeated demands and Alex's complicity. Each piece of evidence strengthened my resolve. I had sacrificed so much for them, and now I was taking my life back. I also made strategic changes to protect myself financially. I closed our joint accounts, moved my savings into a secure account, and ensured that my assets were untouchable. For the first time in months, I felt in control. One evening, as I was reviewing documents, I received a text from Alex. Evelyn, let's talk. We can work this out. I stared at the message, a bitter laugh escaping my lips. It was too late for that. They had made their choice, and now it was time for them to face the consequences. The next morning, Claire and I finalized the legal documents, including an injunction to protect my property and a divorce filing. With everything in order, it was time to confront Alex and Diane. It wasn't just about reclaiming what was mine. It was about standing up for myself after months of betrayal. I drove to the house that had once felt like a home, but now stood as a symbol of manipulation. My heart pounded as I knocked on the door, clutching the envelope of legal papers. Diane opened it, her face twisting in surprise when she saw me. "What do you want, Evelyn?" she snapped, crossing her arms. "I'm here to deliver these," I said, handing her the envelope. "They include a legal injunction against any attempts to transfer my property and the divorce filing." Diane's face turned crimson as she opened the papers. "You think you can just walk in here and do this?" she shouted. "You ungrateful woman. After everything we've done for you, you've done nothing but try to take what isn't yours," I shot back, my voice steady. "This property was left to me by my father, and I won't let you or Alex steal it." Alex appeared behind her, his expression a mix of anger and confusion. "Evelyn, what are you doing?" he asked, grabbing the papers from Diane's hands. "You're really going through with this?" "Yes, Alex, I am," I said firmly. "You betrayed me, and I won't let you or your mother take advantage of me any longer." "You'll regret this," Diane hissed, her voice venomous. "We're family. You can't just walk away." I met her glare with calm determination. "This stopped being a family the moment you tried to manipulate me. You made your choice, and now you'll face the consequences." As I turned to leave, Diane screamed after me, "You won't win this, Evelyn. You'll regret crossing us." But I didn't look back. I had taken the first step toward reclaiming my life, and nothing they said could shake my resolve. Over the following weeks, the legal battle intensified. Claire filed the injunction, effectively freezing any attempts by Diane or Alex to alter the property deed. In court, I presented evidence of their manipulation and greed, detailing how they had tried to coerce me into giving up my inheritance. Diane and Alex tried to defend themselves, but their lies unraveled under scrutiny. Claire's sharp questioning exposed their tactics, leaving them flustered and defensive. The judge, unimpressed by their arguments, ruled in my favor. The property remained legally mine, and Diane and Alex were warned against further attempts to interfere. As I walked out of the courthouse, a wave of relief washed over me. The ruling had gone in my favor. The property deed remained mine, and Diane and Alex were legally barred from making any claims to it. For the first time in months, I felt truly free. The burden of their manipulation had been lifted, and I could finally focus on rebuilding my life. The weeks that followed were a whirlwind of emotions. Diane tried to maintain her composure publicly, but whispers from mutual acquaintances told me she was furious and humiliated. Alex, on the other hand, tried to reach out, sending apologetic messages and pleading for forgiveness. His attempts were too little, too late. I didn't even bother replying. My silence was my answer. With Claire's help, the divorce process moved swiftly. The financial independence I had reclaimed brought me a sense of empowerment I hadn't felt in years. I returned to my career with renewed focus, pouring my energy into the projects I had neglected during my tumultuous marriage. My coworkers noticed the change, often commenting on how much more confident and driven I seemed. One evening, as I sat on the balcony of my new apartment overlooking the city skyline, I reflected on everything that had happened. The betrayal, the heartbreak, the legal battles, it all felt like a lifetime ago. But instead of bitterness, I felt gratitude. Those experiences had taught me to value myself, to stand up for my worth, and to never let anyone take advantage of me again. My parents remained my unwavering support system throughout it all. They celebrated every small victory with me, from finalizing the divorce to finding my new apartment. Their love and encouragement reminded me that I wasn't alone, even during the darkest moments. One afternoon, I received a message from Claire. "Congratulations, Evelyn. The case is officially closed. You've won in every way that matters." I smiled, knowing that the victory wasn't just about keeping my property, it was about reclaiming my freedom and dignity. Months later, I decided to take a step I had been dreaming of for years, starting my own financial consulting firm. The idea of building something from the ground up, using my expertise to help others, excited me. My new beginning wasn't just about leaving the past behind. It was about creating a future on my own terms. Looking back, I realized that Diane and Alex's betrayal had been the catalyst for my transformation. They had tried to break me, but instead, they had made me stronger. I was no longer the woman who bent to others' will. I was the woman who stood tall, unshaken by the storms of life. As I signed the lease for my new office space, I felt a surge of pride. This was my story, and I was the one writing it now. My journey had been painful, but it had led me to a place of peace and purpose. For the first time in a long time, I was truly happy. Thank you for joining me on this empowering journey of resilience and self-discovery. Evelyn's story reminds us that no matter how challenging life may seem, we have the strength to reclaim our happiness and write our own futures. If this story inspired you or resonated with you in any way, please give it a thumbs up and share your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more captivating stories like this one. Your support means the world to me and helps us keep bringing you stories filled with courage, hope, and transformation. Together, let's celebrate the power of taking control of our own destinies. See you in the next story.